So I was gonna stream Baldur's Gate 3, but this is Larian Studios' all the greatest masterpiece, in my opinion, is Michael of all time is Divinity Original Sin 2. So we're gonna get in this story. I'm just setting up some stuff right quick. I'm sure many argue that Baldur's Gate 3 is the greatest that Larian Studios has created, but again, Divinity or DOS 2, in my opinion, is the greatest game that Larian Studios has made. Making some quick adjustments. The gameplay is very similar to Baldur's Gate 3. I don't believe that DOS 2 uses any D&D rule set. It is available, DOS 2 has been available in consoles. Not sure how long, but it's been, it originally came out in, I want to say, 2015. It didn't hit console then. I think it just recently, the last few years. As if y'all new to CRPG games and you're on console, you haven't played. Obviously, it doesn't come out to the 6th, I believe, on PlayStation. Baldur's Gate 3, so I'm sure you can get this for cheap on DOS 2. And again, just get you acquainted with what a CRPG is. Jump into story, single player, explorer, classic. Classic. Go classic. Yes, allow access. Character creation goes pretty deep here. Much like Baldur's Gate 3. So I believe they're using the same engine, if I'm not mistaken. So you can go in here and fully customize. I'm essentially taking what is a preset, but you go in, fully customize your character. So there's a character, rogue character that you meet as one of your companions. There's a mission actually that you gotta complete, and because my favorite character is Sibyl. So I'm gonna be creating another Sibyl. And take another character, team member. So I may not do her Sibyl's mission. And there's a whole bunch of presets and races that you can pick. It's definitely needed for a road. We're ready.
It all happened like I knew it would. A single drop of source magic. And, like flies to honey, the monsters swarmed. The rebel panicked. The carnage began. And the magisters pointed their fingers at me. Just as I'd planned. I was shackled and collared, and sent to Fort Joy. I'd come here to kill Godwoken. But instead, I became part of their story.
So it wasn't a dream after all.
Almost forgot. Concho, I haven't played this game in a while.
Ah, you're up there. Not too tight, I hope. The collar, I mean. Oh, not to worry. Every dog has to get used to its leash. In the meantime, your next stop will be Magister William. All passengers have to be registered in the ship's manifest, and he's the chap in charge of the logs. You'll find him on the other side of this deck, in the officers' quarters. Dungeon? You have the gall to call my laboratory a dungeon? Oh, I'd be quite annoyed with you, if you didn't look so honestly perplexed.
Index fingers pressed to her lips, she pauses a moment to give you a scrutinizing gander.
My word, you do seem a bit befuddled, don't you? Perhaps I was a bit too generous with that sedative. Oh well, I'm sure you'll soon gather your
The
wits.
RPG games.
Most likely. Eventually.
It's
In the meantime, all you
heavy
need to know
on the
is that
story.
we're en route to Fort Joy.
Character builds, etc.
A new life awaits. And if you're a particularly good girl, perhaps a cure as well. An end to Source. For good.
No lesions, no trauma. It was bled by magic.
Good gods! There's been a murder here.
Did the murderer take him into this room? Or was he already here?
So the gameplay mechanics, it's extremely similar to Baldur's Gate
No
3.
marks, no indications of a struggle.
And most CRPGs will be pretty much the same.
Behind the Magister, a bloodied mass lies in a heap. Gore and limbs lie at odd angles. You can't make out a face amid the mess.
There's been a murder. A sorcerer was killed by one of your own. Lucky you were busy getting your collar fitted at the time, or you'd be a suspect like the rest of them. Waters is investigating. She'll figure out who did it. Always does. Aren't you enterprising? I'll let Waters tell you no herself. Go ahead. She with the body.
Ugly sight, isn't it? Burns me up this happened under our protection. We're extremely lucky no Voidwalker followed the source that did this. Finn didn't see it like that. He was desperate for us to help him. Two things scared the living daylights out of him. His own shadow and his own source. We'll find out who did this. Speaking of...
I'm likely gonna be streaming Baldur's Gate 3. Maybe later on this evening.
She looks up at you with a mirthless smile.
I was on duty in your room when the murder happened. You were asleep the whole time. Didn't even stir. You're one of the only indisputably innocent people on the ship. Unless you can commit murder in your sleep, of course. Finn was killed by Source. If a Magister could do that, there wouldn't be a Magister. It looks more like a passenger managed to slip their collar. And the rest, well, you see the evidence in front of you. Listen, I could use someone to keep their ears open among the passengers. Sometimes they clam up in front of a uniform. Bring me a good lead, and I'll throw in a shiny gold coin for you. How about that? An elf of principle. I get it. Wonder how you'll feel when whoever did this does it again. You let me know if you hear anything. Whoever did this is dangerous.
I'll give you that knuckle if you keep carrying on. One of us will kill our own. They're picking us off one by one.
Because this game came out in 2015. And graphics still looks amazing.
Insufferable, surely.
Nearly 9 years later.
What are you trying to hear anyway?
I'll tell you if you keep quiet long enough for me to listen. Kid, you been down by the room up the hall?
An elf sits tucked away in a dark spot, lazily rolling dice onto the surface of a barrel. They sound like the dry cackling of an old witch.
Snake eyes.
She chuckles.
I bet that's just what they'll look like.
She's my evil twin.
She shakes her head.
Game for one, I'm afraid. Rolling dice. Deciding fates.
She eyes you suspiciously.
Not the future, no, but I can read the past in flesh. Just like you. And I'm quite good at it, too. I could lick your arm and tell you how you spent the night before last. Shall I?
She gives your arm a vigorous stroke of the tongue, efficient like a cat grooming.
You were in a cellar with other sorcerers. As everyone lay sleeping, you lay awake thinking of someone back home. A very special someone. You were reminiscing about the things you used to do together. Of course it is. The truth's right there, skin deep. You may have to bite a bit deeper, though. Not every elf is as skilled in the art as I am. But anyway, don't you worry, darling. Your secret's safe with me. I don't lick and tell.
Can we just skip to the part where I reassure
Don't
you?
worry, honey. It isn't yours.
She looks you up and down with the merest hint of a coy smile on her lips.
Insufferable, surely.
Never say never, though.
I'll tell you if you can keep it quiet long enough for me to listen.
How dare you classify this slop as food?
That beast.
I've seen more
that beast.
appetizing things coming out of plague-stricken
Red
pigs.
Prince. So the Red Prince,
There's
I'm
nothing
pretty
else I
sure
can
with
make,
the
Your Majesty. Turnips and water.
pre-ordering,
are all
I
was-
guess. I've been on Baldur's Gate 3 for a few years now.
I've never dined on anything
Going
less
back
than a
to,
dozen-course dinner, and I don't intend to do away with
Early
it.
access on Steam, and
Well,
so when I
there has been a murder, Your Majesty.
jumped in on
Really,
launch and
has
stuff
the
like that,
Majesty's more concern
Baldur's
than
Gate
your
3,
appetite.
one of the capes and
Don't
stuff that
get
you got
saucy
from
with
your
me when you clearly
the
don't know the
traveler's
first thing about sauce.
chest was one
It was
was
one of them. I know it.
his the
Did you
Red
put
Prince's
a
cape.
knuckle in it? I'm trying to concentrate.
Also, this guy right here, Beast, the dwarf,
They don't
his
care
hat.
about us. We're like cattle to them.
Not sure if
I'll
they had
give you
something
that
from
knuckle
Seville.
if you keep carrying
Pretty
on.
sure they had one from each character. I didn't go
One of us
exactly
will
go
kill
through
our
all
own. They're picking us off one by one.
the
Can we
chest
just
that I had, the
skip to the
Travis
part
chest.
where I reassure you and you shut up?
You think me mad?
Mad? No.
A broad dwarf sits totally upright on the bench, eyes closed, palms face up on his knees. His beard is a cascade of meticulous plaits, each one braided through with golden medallions. He raises an eyebrow as you approach, but doesn't open his eyes.
I've seen more appetizing.
Listen up, Ghetto. You hear that?
There's nothing else.
He turns his head toward you, looking you up and down, and smiles before turning his attention to the ship once more.
I've never dined on anything less than
You look like a ghetto to me.
I don't intend to do away with the customs.
Listen if you're interested, or get gone if you aren't.
Your Majesty. Maybe that has the Magister's more concern than your...
His eyes snap open. He looks at you and frowns.
Murder? Ah, that's what they were going on and on about. I wouldn't know anything about it. I kill a man. He knows who done it. His daddy knows who done it. And the mayor knows who done it too.
His eyes flutter shut, and he assumes his position of repose once more.
Whether they catch me is another matter, but I ain't one to hide my accomplishments.
As soon as the Inquisitor gets here,
The ship, of course.
A wave of sound washes over you. The unintelligible chatter of your shipmates, the groaning of wood from floor to ceiling, the boom, crash and crackle of waves around you, complaints from the sea itself.
And?
Unacceptable. I've never dined on anything less than a dozen-course dinner, and I don't intend to do away.
The fellow cocks his ear, listening.
That isn't anger, it's...
He cocks his ear to the other side, then smiles.
Don't you get saucy?
anticipation. She senses something. I'd hold on to my breeches if I were you, mate. That's all you hear, though. Listen close. You've got ears on your head, haven't you? You need me to show you. There now, just like that.
I've seen more appetizing things coming out of plague.
Aha!
His eyes snap open as his countenance breaks into an expression of joy. One great paw claps you on the back. The other catches you before you lose your footing.
There, you heard it, didn't you? I knew it. I knew it. Aye, this is good news, kiddo. Good news. It's the wheel. The wheel. Don't you see, you beautiful idiot? Squeaks whenever the helmsman jerks it clockwise, which means we're heading east. Burn my beard. That means if we've been traveling for, yes, only 10.34 nautical miles to Fort Joy. Ah, so you've eyes as well as ears, eh? You'll go far, mate, even here.
I've seen more appetizing things coming out of plague-stricken
Yeah,
plagues.
no indeed, kiddo. But that ain't my final destination.
The dwarf leans back from the table and strokes his beard, gold medallions jingling merrily. His eyes roll over to you.
That'll be all, thank ye kindly, kiddo.
There has been a murder, Your Majesty. Maybe that has the Magister's more concern than your appetite.
Well, well. What have we here? A fresh face in this stale hell. Let's size you up, shall we? See if you'll do.
The lizard looks you up and down, like a farmer would a fetching horse.
Ask what you must. I've nothing to hide.
Seems to me you should be a little more afraid. There's a killer about, after all.
All of a sudden, he grips you firmly by the chin, with the intent of inspecting your teeth.
There's some discoloration, but I've seen worse. After all, one can't expect to find prime merchandise on a squalid little ship like this. Now then, to business. You will answer me 3 questions. The first one is this. Can you cook?
I'll give you that knuckle if you keep carrying on. One of us won't kill our own. They're picking us off one by one.
Oh, goodness, no. And don't even mention the demon's testes that are turnips.
You think me mad? Mad?
On to the second question. Can you knit, weave? In short, tailor?
What are you trying to hear anyway? I'll tell you if you can keep it quiet long enough.
Yes, I can tell from your vagabond chic, a bag is as good as a shirt kind of style. I shouldn't be getting my hopes up. On then to my final query. Have you the ability to administer the upkeep of one's personal appearance? The delicate art of cosmetics is what I'm after. The very basics, then. I suppose that's a start. So, 3 questions asked, 3 questions answered. Let's evaluate, shall we? As per your own testimony, you can groom, but you have the taste buds of a dung beetle and the fashion sense of a monkey in a clown suit. That won't do at all, see? I'm sad to say I must deny you the opportunity to be my slave. Ever so sorry. You should probably come to terms with the fact that you've half a mind, full stop. You'll never attain the rank of slave with manners such as that. Still, hone your skills, and one day you may just qualify for a position in a lesser household than mine. You keep dreaming, you hear?
I spent my life singing for my slaves to bring me my supper. Finer fare than boiled roots and rotten tubers, too. Meanwhile, the Magisters feast on honeyed meat behind this very wall. The indignity.
Well, you've got this wolf on a leash now.
As soon as the Inquisitor gets here, we'll hang you right over the side of this ship with it.
Name? The Divine Order wants to know. Well, you aren't here on my list. Scrammy.
They don't care about us.
The elf is reading a volume of Cranley Hubert's famous encyclopedia. He looks up, his big round eyes scanning your body, absorbing every detail. He reaches out and examines your face, tugging at your ears and prodding your nose.
Fascinating.
He sits back and returns to his book, flicking quickly from page to page, completely oblivious to your presence.
Ah, yes. The niceties. My name is Fane. I am a scholar from... well, I am a seeker of knowledge. That is enough. It is pleasurable to meet you. Is there? Wherever do you keep it? Certainly not in your books. I have been reading this one for several minutes, and I have yet to find a single insight into the mysteries of the universe. It is simultaneously too detailed and insufficient. I know the beginning of this tale and the end, but I am rather missing the middle. Tell me, what do you know of our world's history? Oh, please. I have no interest in that. Your books are too full of it already.
You, Jill, is that right? I've a few questions for you.
No. I want to know about the Celestial. I want to know about your gods.
So Fane is also one of your... one of the characters you'll be able to choose as your team member. And he's pretty powerful.
This text tells me that they created all creatures, but nothing of what came before.
As is Red Prince, Beast, Sibyl.
Where did these gods come from? Who are their people? Where are the others of their kind? Of course you don't have any useful information. Why did I expect anything else? Now please, run along. I have a world to decipher.
And who are new to CRPGs, this is it right here. It's heavy on the story. Again, it's turn-based combat, so it's gonna be, there's battles you'll get into, fights that you'll get into that'll last an hour plus, believe it or not. It's a slow grind. You're not going in there guns blazing. This is CRPGs is not that. And if you're on console, Xbox, PlayStation, and you plan on getting Baldur's Gate 3, I'm sure you've seen YouTube channels, YouTubers, and their walkthrough, their builds, and yada yada yada. And you can tell, that it's a slow grind. Your builds matter. The relationship you build, also what your teammates matter.
No amount of pestering will get the elf to take his eyes off his book or respond to your questions.
DOS 2, I believe, is sold roughly 1 million copies on Steam. When it between its launch in 2015 and now, and I believe only 10 to 11% actually finished the game. I'm one of those that actually finished the game a couple times.
I'm trying to concentrate.
They don't care about us. We're like cattle to them, do you? Well,
I'll give you that knuckle if you keep carrying on.
one of us wouldn't kill our own. They're picking us off one. Did you see the body? They're everywhere now.
My mum doesn't like elves, but I...
Your kind always hung closest to our divine, like wolves of a
It was one of them. I know it.
Would you put a knuckle in it? I'm trying to concentrate.
They don't care
A
about
scruffy man lounges against the wall with scarred arms folded. A sly smile playing on his face, he stares across at the Magister guarding him. Noticing you, he straightens and beckons for you to come closer.
Watch your back, new fish. There's a murderer on board, and I'd bet 3 months' pay it's this tramp Ifan.
Rolling his eyes at the Magister's warning, the man named Ifan beckons again. He leans in and adjusts your collar with a sharp tug, balancing its weight so it no longer presses unpleasantly on your neck. He winks.
Pinches less that way, right?
Hocking a phlegmy gobbet in your general direction, the sullen Magister settles back to his task of glowering at Ifan. And now, you.
We used to know each other, more's the pity. I was his commander many, many, many moons ago. Isn't that right, Vic?
Standing far back from Ifan, the tight-faced Magister draws one finger across his throat in an elaborate fashion, but says nothing. Ifan grins, flashing pointed white teeth.
Same as he was at 14 years old. Only difference is somebody gave him a bigger sword and now he's Johnny Big Pants. Long story. Maybe I'll tell you about it in the Joy. Away from interested parties. No. The dead man, Finn, is it? I'd no business with him. And I wouldn't put a man down without good reason.
He glances over at Magister Victor, who's staring back at him with pointed intensity.
Damn shame sheer annoyance isn't reason enough. The Joy, I've heard a lot. Nothing good. No surprise there, since Bishop Alexander runs the show. Wonder if we'll get to meet the Ringmaster himself. Easy now. I might think the same, but Vic here will blow a blood vessel if he hears you talking like that.
What are you conspiring about over there? You, elf, what's your name?
Oh, don't mind him. Vic's just got a bee in his bonnet. And that bee is me.
Name?
Magister Victor looks at you suspiciously, then scrawls something illegible down in a tiny notebook. He scowls at you as he stows the notebook back in his voluminous robes.
Away with you, at once.
Ifan performs an elaborate pantomime of keeping quiet, one finger in front of his lips as he leans back against the wall.
There has been a murder, Your Majesty. Maybe that has the Magister's more concern than your appetite.
Don't you get saucy with me when you clearly don't know the first thing about sauce.
Here's the register, ma'am. Good, good. Magister Williams has just about done with the last passenger. You faring okay so far? Glad to hear it. You head on in now. Williams will get you sorted fast.
They're picking us off one by one. Keep those bolts trained on her, and if she tries to run, shoot to kill.
Standing at the center of the room, you spot a sorcerer haughtily eyeing a pair of nervous-looking magisters. They keep their crossbow trained upon her as she's being interrogated by an officer.
So you admit it then? You murdered that poor fella?
Yes, I did. But of course, that was only the beginning.
She turns her head and looks you straight in the eye.
There are others whose lives must end.
Good God, the woman's mad. You there, sorcerer, go and fetch Magister Siwan. We need to do more than collar this maniac. We need to shackle her, hands and feet.
No, I'm afraid I always perform my part solo. Do stay and watch, though, because...
She reaches for her collar and simply removes it.
I'm just about to create a scene.
Subdue her, men, quickly! If she casts source, the Voidwoken will come. They'll end us all.
She smiles with wicked satisfaction.
Precisely.
What's happened?
Damn! That doesn't bode well. Onwards and upwards! God damn it! Need to get off this wreck, and quick!
Through the door and are suddenly face to face with an undead. His skull is bizarrely angular, and a glorious jewel sits in the middle of his forehead. The skeleton is quickly leafing through a volume of Cranley Hubert's famous encyclopedia, muttering to himself.
No, no, no! What damn fools record knowledge on a pulped tree?
Rain again.
It catches fire. It turns into must when wet. It cannot even resist acid. No wonder they're so bloody ignorant.
The skeleton looks up and notices you for the first time.
Oh, it's you. Shouldn't you be running and screaming or some such?
The skeleton groans and looks back to his book, frantically flipping from page to page.
Yes, indeed. It's the look of someone that wants to read the bloody book he's holding. Now, if you're really quite finished, I believe you have lifeboats to flee to. Please, I was no more an elf than you are those rags you're wearing. I had a mask, rather ingeniously designed, which allowed me to take that primitive form. A mask that was stolen by that damned witch after her little scene. Still, she'll drown with the rest of these fools, and I will simply pluck my mask from her cold, dead hands. Indeed. Just as sensible as getting off a sinking ship and leaving a fellow to his business. I would say good day, but it seems quite likely that you're about to die a rather terrible death, so...
The skeleton shrugs casually and returns to his book.
He's going back to our side, but forget it.
The marking on the door was painted recently, judging from its pungent scent. You recognize the symbol immediately for what it is, a warning of death fog within. You press your palm against the door to open it. The wood feels neither cold nor warm, but simply grey. The color drains from your hand, and you are left numb. It doesn't budge. The door groans open, but an ashen shadow clouds your mind.
Deathfall! I need to get out of here, now!
Just like every other CRPG game, you want to save and save all. It's a death vault. I can't get in there right now. into the lifeboat.
A lifeboat! That means there's still a chance!
Shut your trap, kid! Children and dwarfs first, just like the old stories say.
The dwarf yanks at one of the nearby ropes to no avail.
You said there were other people down there.
There are.
We need to help them.
You see those tentacles, kid? It's time to get the hell out of here.
Thank you, thank you, thank you! There's a ladder right over there. You can go straight down.
You're gonna be the death of us, you hear?
Gotta hotkey all these stuffs.
As the dead man's flesh slides down your throat, you feel his consciousness enter yours. His memories are yours to
Whatever reason it
experience.
wasn't
You
saved.
are Finn.
In the previous playthrough.
Your heart is heavy. You know too much. It's all too much. You met him. A bright light blinds you, then fades. You feel a tremendous power in your hands, but they are shaking so hard you can barely use them. Suddenly you're on this very ship, crouched in a corner, hugging your knees. A figure approaches, an older woman. Her eyes are kind. She comes closer. She says she wants to talk. She reaches a hand toward you. You grasp it. The memories end. You are no longer Finn. You return to yourself with a jolt.
Well, there's gonna be a lot of items throughout the road that is extremely small. Some stuff might be hidden behind vines, waterfalls, etc. Really good
The
items,
Magister lies on the floor,
weapons, armor.
unconscious and bleeding from a dire-looking wound.
If you can walk, get yourself. Wait! Find Woken!
Beardless bugs won't sink the ship on my watch.
I thought Void Woken was supposed to be scary.
I've faced worse.
Let the
Again, I've been playing Baldur's Gate 3 for roughly 2 years now, going on 2 years. This is a great game. But again, this
They who are about to triumph.
DOS 2 is definitely my goal. The first in the series is also really good. I'm gonna put that as far as CRPGs go in my top 10. DOS 2 obviously number 1. given Baldur's Gate 3, as I haven't beat it yet, but I haven't. As of right now, it's my top 5. But I could move on easy. Number 2 would be Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous. There's a lot of great CRPG games out there. Just in recent years, you haven't seen it, to be honest with you. It's a niche type of genre that a lot of people don't play anymore. But with Baldur's Gate 3, hopefully it opens eyes to these new gamers who hasn't experienced it before, or just never give it a shot. It is intimidating at first, but again, like once you're used to the game, how the game goes, the gameplay, the character building, relationship building, get into the story, you're gonna fall in love with it. It took me a while. So I've played Baldur's Gate 1, 2 back in the day, like when they first launched, Windows 98, dialed up, and I've been playing these type of games since back then, and they were popular back then.
I hear something. It's Magister Siwan, the one who put on this damn collar.
She tries to speak, but can only gape as she clutches her neck, trying to stem the bleeding of a gushing wound. Bloody bubbles froth from her mouth. She's not long for this world. She's no more than a
I have plans for you, child. Rise.
Honorable Dallas, we lost a ship sailing sorcerer prisoners to Fort Joy. We assume some escaped and broke their collars. Their vile magic lured the Voidwoken. All who were aboard are presumed dead. Yours faithfully into eternity, High Judge Orivan.
Those Voidwoken made short bloody work of the ship. Am I the lone survivor?
This must be Fort Joy.
Check my graphics set at. Check the buffering. Let's turn that off. So it's maxed out. Yeah, this game is from 2015. It's still a beautiful game. Story's amazing. Gameplay is the best in the CRPG realm. So we're gonna call it. I'm gonna save it here and then likely continue tomorrow. I may be on later to stream some BG3. Okay, thank you. And hopefully I'll see you guys later.